Gail Estella, survival podcast. Yeah. Where pain becomes purpose, no fear, no remorse. Say it again. Through the pain, through the fire, through the worst of my day. We made it. I found purpose in the breaking. Right there. Survival isn't a whisper. I know. Bro, if you listen, you survive. Still breathing, still alive. God never wastes the hurting. Every chapter had a rolling tide.
Gail Estella, and welcome to the Gail Estella Survival Podcast.
From pain comes purpose. No fear, no remorse. Survival isn't a whisper. Through the worst of my day. And the breaker isn't no whisper.
Hello, everyone. This is Gail Estella, and welcome to the Gail Estella Survival Podcast. Here's where we turn pain into purpose, because survival isn't a whisper, it's a roar. Are you following me on all of my social media platforms? If not, will you please do so at Gail Estella? And lastly, Through It All by Gail Estella. Have you purchased your copy yet? If you haven't, it's not too late. You can go to truevinepublishingcompany.org, Amazon.com, or anywhere books are sold. My guest tonight, the conversation was so good and so enlightening and so inspiring that we didn't get to finish. So we agreed to do a part two, or to record a part two. And that's what we're doing tonight. This is the second part of Still Smiling Through It All with Miss Cathy Crawford. And listen to her story. And to know that if you're going through anything, that you can still smile and God can bring you through it all. And she is a living testament of that. Here she is, Miss Cathy Crawford. We're back.
We're back.
Yes. And I so enjoyed the first session, or first part of our interview. Talked about your brother Pokey and his death and everything that you went through, being a caretaker for him being your best friend, and the grieving process. And while he was going through his illness, your mother and father were experiencing their own ailments and illnesses as well.
Exactly. Yes. So mom was more unbeknownst to me, but she was already in her latter stages of dementia. So, and then dad was in the early stages. I feel like he was in the early stages, but with everything that was going on with Pokey, things get overlooked, so did not catch those signs that she was already in those stages. I was so busy taking care of him, and then also taking care of her, making sure she gets back and forth to her appointments as well. Mm-hmm. But when Pokey transitioned on, I think within a matter of maybe 30 or 60 days, I was pushed back into the caregiver role again. So as far as taking care of her. Mm-hmm. So, yeah.
And you said that it might have been happening, but time and everything that was going on, everyone's focus was on Pokey.
Yes.
Even his mother, Miss Crawford. Mm-hmm. And I must say this, I remember Miss Crawford coming into the salon.
Yes.
And she would chew her chewing gum.
Always had chewing gum, yes.
Always had chewing gum, and she had the pretty short haircut in the gap like yours. Yes. And then I remember when Malik was born.
Yeah.
And she would bring Malik to the salon, or she would go to the tree house. That was the children's store at Rock Hill. And I remember because Asia was born the same year as Malik. And she would go and he would come in with his clothes that he bought all dressed up.
Exactly. Yes. These kids are so rotten. Yes. Miss Shopaholic.
Yes. I remember that like it was yesterday.
Yes. And she spoke highly of you and your persona and your looks and your glamour and everything too. So she really did love you a lot.
Well, thank you. I loved her too. Thank you.
So yeah.
Miss Crawford. Once Pokey passed, do you think the stress of her son passing, her baby, which you said was her baby, there was a girl and boy, but her baby passing, do you think the stress of it might have expedited?
I certainly. Yeah, certainly. I totally agree with you on that. It did. It just rapidly put everything for her into motion. Pokey, we often say we don't have a favorite as parents, but certainly Pokey, I feel in my heart. She I know she loved us unconditionally, but Pokey was a mama's boy. And she adored him, and they just was mini-me's and stuff like that. So he had a way with her like no other. So once my brother transitioned, my mother health declined, rapidly to the point where, she got COVID and went into the hospital. She had the lipedema that came out of nowhere. She didn't have any type of thyroid issues or whatever, but all of a sudden the doctors was unbeknownst to the doctor, she just developed lipedema on both of her legs. So, which limit her walking ability, and she was being treated for that. And so, everything Pokey's death just compounded everything, for her. So, as well as, for me,
how was that watching your mother's health decline after recently losing your brother? Did you have time to grieve him, or you just had to go back into survival mode and caretaker mode?
Yeah, I didn't have time to grieve. I didn't have time to grieve for anyone, doing all my death that has occurred in my life. No, it was back to work because, I was working part-time as a therapist. So I was able to make my own schedules as far as my clients doing therapy and things of that nature with Pokey. So it was back for a little bit full-time, and then putting people in place for her. Pokey was a Navy veteran, so certainly I had the assistance of the veterans for him, and he was still able to do things. He was a trooper through it all. With Mom, it was just that I had to put people in place, even though she was married to a veteran, my father, who did 21 years in the service in the Army. She still needed more assistance, so. I was able to put people in place and for her for that, while I tried to work and I think I was in Chester County at the time. So yeah. So I was able to put people in place to assist me. And then when I got here, I took over. But she developed.
How was it trusting the home health aides and trusting the caretakers? Because we experienced that with my father. You have some good ones, and then you have some that just don't do anything, especially when the parents or, the patients are elderly and living alone. I just think they do as much as they should be doing.
I don't. You're absolutely correct. Now with Pokey, he was like I say, he was able to get around and talk and stuff like that. So
yes, he could advocate for himself.
My mother, not so much, because she had that terrible disease where she was losing her memory and mind. So certainly within her stages, I I terminated a lot of people.
Yeah.
I terminated a lot of people, either
Yes.
over the phone or face to face. But
Mm-hmm.
I certainly had to advocate. This is my mom. You will, if if this is what you do, I need you to do X, Y, Z. I was able to place, I have a bit of a trust issue, because these are your loved ones. So
Of course,
I
yes.
took it upon myself to place in security cameras everywhere,
Yes, we did too.
so I can watch while I was at work. So, but I was able to get some good nurses and CNAs. One particular CNA, she was marvelous for my mom as well as my dad. Oh my gosh! But two different people. But yes, but certainly just making sure she was being treated with dignity and respect.
Yes,
Even
I
though
like
she
those
wasn't able
words.
to, take care of herself. I had to make sure they still treated my mom with dignity and respect, and and for the most part they did. I had some good CNAs and nurses. Yeah.
How was it for you watching your mother's mental capacity decline?
I often miss signs, like now in hindsight, when I spoke to the neurologist, I was like, my mom kind of transitioned kind of quick with this disease. And he informed me, no, Miss Crawford did not. You missed the signs because of everything else that you was going through.
Yes.
So your mother was in those stages while you was taking care of your brother. And I was like, oh my gosh, how did I, and I did. And looking back on it now, trying to pinpoint times, I did. I can see where I did miss signs. Because like we spoke about the last time, this is during COVID too, even though we was coming out of it, it was not such a panic thing now. People was venturing out. We were still somewhat, on alert status with it, not wanting to catch it and things of that nature. So, yeah, just in hindsight now, I see that she was going through periods, of the disease that I just kind of missed.
And when it was more prevalent
Yes.
and more noticeable, what did that do to you emotionally?
When it was more prevalent and I could see it, that broke me down a little bit. I used to always say that C word. I used to hate having that C word. Now I add something else to the C word.
Yes.
I hate it. It's the worst disease. Those two that I can think of at the moment that stands out. But yeah, when I noticed it, it was pretty much we was on the downfall from that point. She wasn't able to walk. Like I say, she developed COVID. She was talking out of her mind, Then she was calling on her loved ones. So through that time, transitioning from the hospital to nursing to rehab, people was in my ear, loving people, but they was in my ear saying, Cathy, you probably need to put your mom in a nursing home, that's the best care for her to be in a nursing home. But my walks with nursing homes since I was an adolescent and teenager, volunteering my time up there when my grandfather was there, I did not like what I saw. And I'm not saying our nursing homes are bad. They just didn't sit well in my spirit. But yet still, I was contemplating it, because of everything I had went through with Pokey. I was contemplating it. But when I had EMS, when it was time for her to be discharged, and I had EMS go pick her up, we was in the process of saying, Miss Crawford, Cathy, where is she going? Is she going to a nursing home? Is she going home? And I remember this like it was yesterday. I went up there to meet with them, and miraculously, let's use that word. She came back to herself, and she was like, And she wasn't even talking. She was really just like, couldn't notice who I was, whatever, but they come back. So when I walked in the door and we had the EMS people there with the bed, she kind of trying to get her in the bed. She kind of rose up and looked at me and she was like, you promised. And I was like, promise what? She was like, you promised that you would take care of us. You would take care of us. You wouldn't put us in a nursing home. And that hit me like lightning. And I said to the EMS, take her home.
Yes.
Take her home. God would provide. Take her home. And they did. And they took her home and they brought her here and we put a hospital bed in and had stuff delivered. And from there, I started taking care of her along with, CNAs for approximately a year. And she reminded me, I was 15 years old. I don't know where that came from. She said, when you was around 15 or 16 years old, you said, I'm never putting y'all in a nursing home. I'm going to take care of you.
And she remembered that.
And she
was able to articulate it.
Did she articulate it? Lord, she very loudly. She did. So, yeah. So I did what I needed to do. And I just went down to just working, part-time here and there and to making sure that she had everything that she needed and, taking care of her. With Mom, I had to take care of not only the disease, but the lymphedema too.
Yes. Because she was an ambulatory. She was bedridden, right?
And she was in pain because she had that nerve pain, that neuropathy. So she was in pain. So, we had to do range of motions and she would just be in excruciating pain saying, please no. But we had to, I think I didn't want to believe it. So I was just like, no, you're going to get better. We're going to do those range of motions and you're going to get better. And we're going to, walk out of here and do the things that we used to do,
Were you in denial or did you really believe that?
I was in denial. Yeah. I just wanted to believe it because I wanted to have my mom.
I understand.
To be with me, to do the things that we used to do, out and about, shopping, doing eating. Love to eat, love to shop. So, But, I was in denial.
Because I know Asia, she had to take pulmonary rehab for her lungs. And I remember one day she was saying she didn't feel like going. And I kept saying, but you have to go. You have to go. That's the only way you're going to get better. Because in my mind, I'm thinking, this is rehab. Just like if you break a leg and you rehab it enough, you'll be able to walk on it again. So I felt if you rehab your lungs enough, they'll be strong enough that you won't need oxygen and it'll be okay. But that's not how the lung works. And that's not how it worked. And I look back now, I was in denial and I wanted it so badly. That I just pushed her. I'm like, you got to do this. You got to do this, And
I was doing the same thing with my mom. And even when the CNAs would call me and say, your mom doesn't want us to touch her legs. I was like, we have to. And I would just dismiss her sometimes when she was like, she can just feel me going, I barely touching it. She can feel that air and that friction and just holler out with pain.
Yeah, and I think that's the central nervous system going in, that mode to protect. And we experienced that with my dad too, and that's not a good feeling. So at some point, it was just making sure she was comfortable and allow her, family to come in to visit, because mom was still pretty keen up there for a long time. And I think that's where my denial was, because she would always make fun of me because I smile so much. She would often say, you keep smiling like that chestnut cat. Why are you smiling so much? So, and those are things that she used to say to me as a child, always looking at me saying, why are you smiling so much?
But so I didn't think, I just felt like, hey, she just having one of those moments, I didn't know that she was in the latter stages of the disease, because she would still make fun of me, and she still knew me,
That's what I was going to ask you. So she still knew you. That's a blessing.
Yeah. She still knew me, and she knew of other people, neighbors, and people names that I would call. She knew of my dad, So that's why I didn't think that she was so far gone.
Mm-hmm.
But and her transition it didn't happen like that. Hers was more, you couldn't tell whether she was in pain. She didn't have any type of decline in her body, sores or anything, open wounds. She didn't have none of that. In actuality, when I brought her home from rehab, within a couple of days, her lymphedema was gone. She didn't have no more swelling. She didn't have no roughness of like that elephant type skin on her. Her skin was like, her legs was just they went back to, I guess, normal, tiny. Her skin was just, and I just thought, for me, it was just the lotioning and what we had to do, the wrapping from the doctors. We used to wrap it really tight. I just felt like, okay, maybe in the medicine, maybe it's working. But now that I think about it, she was transitioning, but she didn't have any type of like dad. Dad had, the sores, on the buttocks, but she didn't have none of that. So certainly when I walked in and saw the hospice nurse there, and she was like, we went through a period, Dad used to call me because Dad was still ambulatory, right in his mind.
Yes.
So I wasn't residing here full time at that point. I had my own place, and I would just stop in and, make sure everyone was comfortable and, settle the house for the night, and I would leave, so, but Dad would often call me in the middle of the night saying she was yelling out and stuff. And she was talking to the angels, her people. And,
how was it for your father experiencing this? He had just lost his son, and now he's seeing his wife's health decline. How was that for him?
For Dad always have been, Dad always was a stern, that military, strong man. I'm not going to show any emotion. I'm going to put on this, sternness face, brave face. It became a lot for my dad. He was just overwhelmed, frustrated, didn't know what to do, growing tired of he was just getting tired.
Yes.
I'm not able to, he was just growing tired. But then in conversations with him face to face, when I got here, I would talk to him about, understanding that Mom is dealing with the illness. Unbeknownst to me that he was going to be dealing with the same illness.
Yes.
Yeah. So I'm talking to him and, saying, Dad, got to find some compassion. I understand what you're going through. You lost your son, your only son. Now we're going through this, but Mom is not going to get better. It's, so in talking to him face to face and helping him understand that she's not going to get better, I think in time he started just relaxing more, becoming more empathetic, and realizing that his wife of almost 60 years was transitioning. So yeah.
Were you there when your mother passed?
I was here when my mother passed, but I didn't know she had passed. So like I said, I arrived, and the hospice nurse during a period of a couple of weeks, my mom she was not eating, and I was trying to make her eat. Like, come on, we got to eat, soft, make her sip through the straw. And she was trying, and that's why I knew that she got it. But then Dad would notice at night, she would develop this phlegm, this thickness. But hers was more dark. Hers was dark and thin. I mean, it was just like, it was so thick. But when he told me about that, he was like, and I got here and I started noticing that. I said, something's not right. So that's when I called in hospice, and, they was telling me that, this is a form, a sign.
Yes, I remember all of that with my father.
I was just like, oh my goodness. But I was still working and coming home. And so I think one particular day, the nurse had said that, I think your mom is transitioning. So I got there and I called two of my closest friends, and they came to the home, and I walked in, and my dad and I was by her bed, and she was fine to me, she was breathing, but she was staring up into the ceiling.
Yes,
but I kind of did not hear the nurse say she's transitioning, she's going. So I walked into the kitchen. I left my dad there with her, and I walked into the kitchen. And then my two friends, my besties, Sandra and Loretta, came behind me. And Sandra was like, Cathy, did you hear the nurse? I said, yeah, I heard the nurse. She was like, your mom is gone. I was like, no, my mom is not gone. And she was like, yeah, your mom is gone. That's what she was saying. Your mom has transitioned. And so I turned back around and I ran back in there, and I just, certainly wailed.
Yeah.
And then kissed her and said, so Mom went just peaceful, she just,
Can you remember the last words that you said to your mom?
Oh, yeah. I told her that, I loved her, that she go ahead and go be with her favorite child, Pokey. I said, that you go on up there and be with your favorite Pokey. He's just, I love you, and you was one of the best moms that a girl could ask for. And I kissed her, and then that's when the nurse was like, she had already, taken her last breath. So yeah.
And again, I'm sorry for your loss.
Thank you. Yeah.
Were you able, because I'm quite sure you were the one that had to take care of the funeral arrangements and everything again.
Yeah. But you know what? And this is what brings such a smile on my face when I think of my mom. My mom knew that she was dying. And I walked around this house saying, oh my gosh, I got to find pictures. I got to do the obituary. I got to do the program. And I was calling on God to help me. I'm going through this again. And certainly I had the help of my cousin in all the funeral arrangements for everyone. But I went through this house searching for pictures and things of that nature, because I knew the type of obituary that I was going to have. And I opened up the closet where she was in one of the bedrooms where she was at way before, she transitioned from the rehab. She stayed in her bed in one of the bedrooms, and we had a recliner and things of that nature. We had a hospital bed in there before I put her in the living room, which was more space. My mother was back there during that time, doing her obituary, her program, and everything. And I had not a clue. And so I called on God. I remember this. I was in there crying, and I called on God, and I was like, oh my gosh. And I knew we had pictures everywhere, from way back when. I went up in her closet just to start gathering things out. And lo and behold, on the top shelf, pictures fell down and a notebook fell down. And I was like, oh my gosh, look at the pictures. So I was looking at the pictures, and I was like, this notebook. And I opened up the notebook. My mother had already written out her obituary, my father's obituary, my sister's obituary, the program, the repast. She had specific instructions to me. She said, Cathy, now, and I can see her doing this from heaven. Now, if I don't look good, you make sure I have a closed casket. Don't you have? And I have that note. I have that writing in the notebook to this day. If I don't look good, you don't use that money. You use that money for a nice repast, and you have a closed casket. Don't have me looking in the
I can imagine.
here.
That sounds like her.
Yes, she did.
Yeah.
And she said she had specific things. She was like, her home church, New Hope United Methodist Church, if they're not able to house me, because you know what we're going through, you know what that church been going through now, where we can have it, you can go ahead and have it at Robinson, have everything at Robinson, but you make sure now. So,
and you know what I'm hearing, Cathy? That your mother was taking care of you.
Yes.
Because she knew what you were going to, she knew what you had just faced with your brother.
Yes.
She knew you were the caretaker of your sister, Rhodey, and you would be the caretaker for your father.
Yes.
And she was like, I'm going to take care of my baby, even though she thinks Pokey is the favorite. Yes. I'm going to let her see that I'm making this easy for her.
Yes. Took the load all the way down to, in that notebook, as I was turning the pages, she had the picture. And it said, this is the picture you use on the program. All the way down to that. She told me where to find things. We had a little cabinetry in the kitchen up against this back wall. She was like, go to the bottom of the cabinetry, open that drawer, you will find what you need. And lo and behold, everything that I needed was there.
We all should take a lesson from Miss Crawford.
I already have. I've already started, telling my kids the same thing would be in place for them. I think it's a remarkable thing to do.
Yeah, that was beautiful. Yeah.
So I didn't have much to do. I had the support of my cousin Glo, who was able just to come over there and tweak some things. And, we took it to the funeral home, and that was pretty much it. Everything else they had already taken care of years as a teenager. Mm-hmm. They had already paid for everything.
The financial part.
Yeah, the financial part. Yeah. I just had to find the papers, take them to, where they're laid at rest, Grandview, and they go from there. But yeah, she did. Yeah, she did.
Yeah, that's a blessing. Miss Crawford. Yes. Your dad.
Oh, my dad. Daddy's girl.
Lost his son, lost his wife.
Uh-huh.
And now his health is beginning to decline.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Yeah.
How soon after your mom passed did your father pass?
So mom passed in April of 2022. So I think I had a good year of just exhaling and going back to work full time and taking care of my kid, Lana in college, being able to travel a little bit and do some things. He was doing okay. Then I think the latter part of 2023, 24, early part of 24. Yeah, I started noticing just things that just wasn't right. And then I started getting phone calls from people who, knew of my dad. They was able to call one of my cousins or somebody and say, I need somebody to reach out to Cathy. I see her dad walking around in the parking lot at the bank or at the grocery store. Yes. So I knew I was in the midst of this again.
And this again. Tell me about that feeling. Or tell the audience about that feeling. First, let me ask you this question. Did your father talk about Miss Crawford and Pokey? Did he ever talk about them?
He did not. Dad, no, he was introverted.
Stern
Introverted. Yeah. He didn't talk about it. Now, he was willing to talk about it if you asked about it.
Yes.
And I used to also remind him that y'all was married 60 years, one woman, we used to joke around. He was like, yeah, Emily. So he would speak upon it if you asked. Mm-hmm. He didn't speak too much of Pokey, I call him Pokey Purnell. He didn't speak too much of his son, or only if you asked about him, he would say something. But more so, he didn't talk too much about Pokey. If you talked about Mom, he would remind you of things, give you a memory here or there. But other than that, Dad didn't talk a lot about.
Did you see a physical transition come over him? Because a lot of times it may be something, like a metamorphosis takes place, that at one time they were big and strong and then their shoulders begin to slump a little bit, or more lines come in their face from the sadness.
Yes, and I think I noticed more of that, more of the slow movements, the just staying in being confined to one place, house, and just sitting. I made sure I had pictures out. I redid his whole house, so I made sure I had pictures out and things of that nature. Picture of him and my mom on the end table, pictures of him and Pokey, So, but he would just stay in one position in the den. And that's where he would be when I walked in. So I knew that he was in deep thought. But my dad was a very proud man, a very private person. Mm-hmm. So he's not going to be forthcoming on talking about family unless you just ask him a specific question.
And that's most men from that era.
Exactly. It is.
Most men from that era. Your friends are telling you that they see your father walking around the parking lot.
Yes.
And now this concern comes up. Do you immediately recognize it from everything that you've gone through with your mother?
I immediately recognize everything that I didn't recognize with Mom.
Yeah, okay. Yes, okay. Yeah. That's fair to say, yes.
Do recognize the slowness, the forgetting. Dad loved TJ's restaurant, which is down the street from where we live. That little mom and pop restaurant that's on the corner. They knew him by name. So he would go down there every morning to get his coffee and eat, every morning. So I noticed the driving. That was the first thing I noticed. Wasn't driving as carefully as I would like, So at that time, when I was taking him on his many appointments, the primary care physician was like, Mr. Crawford needs to stop driving. He needs to stop driving. He was in his, late 80s. He needs to stop driving. But it's hard to tell a stern military, regardless of whether you're military or not, a man to stop doing something that he valued because everything else had been let go,
taken away.
Taken away. I couldn't allow him. He was good at landscaping, loved to keep an immaculate yard, So that's when I noticed that, he just wasn't able to do the things that he needed to do. And then the decline in the driving, but he would not stop that driving for anything in the world. Now, Malik, his grandson, is the only person that during his declining stage, Dad remembered Malik. You would say Malik and he would just be like, oh, he knew Malik. So if I would say Malik said, he would be more prone to be like, okay, I'll listen. Okay. Or I call Malik on the phone, and, But it took us doing tricks to get him to stop driving. I would go and unplug, go under the hood, and take the main thing out that wouldn't crank. And that smart man of mine would go next door and have somebody come and look under the hood. And they'll be like, oh, Mr. Crawford, here's the problem. We're right back in there. So at that time, it was time for me to tell my closest neighbors what I was going through.
Yes.
To get on board with things. But he wouldn't stop. And I had to get what you call those air tags.
Yes.
Yeah.
To track him.
Because he was like, I'm driving. I didn't want to,
Yeah.
But I'm only going down to TJ's. And he was only going to TJ's in the church. So I felt like I could get away with it for a little bit more until I looked in the cameras around 8:30 at night and I didn't see him and I didn't see his car. And I was like, oh my gosh. So when I got here, he wasn't nowhere to be found. And so I looked on the tracker and it was like, at that time it was going on 9:30 and I was, my heart.
Yeah. And it was dark.
See where he was at. And then as I was driving there, he still had his cell phone. A lady was in the parking lot or she was walking, whatever the case may be. But she called and she said, there's a man down here. And I was almost there anyway, but he was there and he was like, I was coming to get something to eat. And then I was like, but it's 9:30 at night. It's closed. Let's go home. So yeah.
I want to read something to you.
Okay.
Studies show that for the overall U.S. population, Black Americans are roughly 1.5 to 2 times likely than whites to develop Alzheimer's and related dementias. Current cognitive tests, which were largely developed based on white populations, may not accurately reflect cognitive health in Black populations, potentially leading to underdiagnosis or misdiagnosis. Alzheimer's is the 4th leading cause of death in older Black Americans.
Yes. And yes, very true, very valid. Yes. And Dad and Mom had great doctors, took them to Metrolinian Neurological Associate. And, they did good. They placed them in, that little scan. You have to go and just sit. Yeah. And doing, and I kept up to date on Dad, especially. I needed to know where he was at stage wise. Understanding there's either, and I may be wrong. I'm just trying to remember what his doctor used to tell me, what stage. I think there's either 6 or 7 stages of this disease, but they will always keep me abreast when he used to go on his monthly appointments. I used to ask, and he will always tell me, Mr. Crawford is between stage. He's going into stage 6, something like that. So, yeah, I kind of, it is. And even when you try to implement more healthy foods, fibers, and, as well as trying to keep their memory alive by doing crosswords, puzzles,
brain games
and stuff like that. With Dad, I had all that stuff. I still have it here. I had healthy foods being delivered, to the house. So but he really did not adjust to doing the crossword puzzles or the word search or the reading. I had magazines, didn't. No, Dad just wanted to go down to TJ's, socialize a little bit, and come back. But I knew that I had to stop the driving at some point. And that day came when Lana came home for a visit from college, and just like clockwork, he got up early in the morning, 6, 7 o'clock in the morning, got in his truck, and we kept hearing a banging sound. And Lana was like, "Mom, what is that banging sound?" I said, "I don't know." And so I kept hearing it. So I ran outside, came outside, and my dad was had put the car in reverse, and Lana has a Jeep Wrangler. And part of it was sticking out, but it wasn't that a bigger part where he could have, if you're in your right mind, you could have easily bagged out. But he kept hitting that car. He kept hitting her car. He hit her car so much she had a big old hole in it. She was going back to school within 2 days. So I knew at that time I ran to the truck and said, "Stop." And I said, "No more. You're going to be mad, but no more." And I had to take the keys, and he was upset. This disease changed my dad for the worse.
Yeah. Did he become angry?
He became a totally different person. People who know my dad, and my dad was soft-spoken. My dad was very a gentle soul, wouldn't raise his voice or whatever. He became somebody that I just didn't know.
He didn't know. Yeah. I'm going to go back, and we're going to move forward from here. But I want to ask you something. You said that you bought the word brain games, the puzzles, the healthy food. So was this your way of trying to do something different, that you had a little bit more experience now to help save your dad, because you didn't want to lose your father to the same disease you lost your mother to?
Yes. I'm a daddy's girl. And people probably know that. And you probably was that daddy. Same for you. I love my dad. I loved my dad. I loved him to the ends of the earth. He was my rock. And I did not want to lose my dad.
Yeah.
I did not.
I understand. And you said you did something that took a lot of courage, and it took a lot of time and energy and a lot of love, because you worked in Chester.
Yes.
And you would leave Chester every day
for a whole year.
So tell us about that.
I would leave. I had a wonderful, now I went through 2 CNAs. I had a wonderful CNA with the veterans, with Agape Hospice. Her name is Penny Dixon. And until this day, people around here that are going through some stuff and met Penny, they want that CNA to come to their home. She was remarkable, but those CNAs could not administer medicine. They could not administer shots. They couldn't. They're not certified to do that. So that came on my shoulders. So every day for approximately a year and maybe a couple months, I would leave Chester County at 12. I would get in my car at 11:45 a.m. I would get here by 12. It's about a 22-minute drive, and I was tearing that road up because I had to be back by 1. So I would get in my car no later than 11:45. I would get here by 12:15, 12:20. I would run in this house. I would give my dad his medicine. I would take his blood pressure, and I would give him his prick on his finger, check his sugar. And I would do that every day, Monday through Friday, because I had to get back by 1 o'clock for a session or a class at 1:05 p.m. I did that every day. Because who else? I mean, I didn't have a nurse coming in at that time. the time the nurses came in was doing, you know, when they needed to do visits, you know.
Right.
But yeah, I did that because I just knew he was going to be around. I said, you know, for a long time. I just felt like that. I kept getting different numbers in my spirit, and I would tell the nurse when they thought, "Oh, Mr. Crawford is transitioning," and I was like, he ain't transitioning," and they was wrong several times. Every time they would come out and say, "Miss Crawford, can I talk to you on the porch?" And they would say, "Oh, I think we got 3 months." And I was like, but the God I serve, no.
Yes.
And those 3 months would turn into 6 months.
Yes.
And to the point where his beautiful nurse would be like, "I'm not going to even say when he's going to transition. I'm always wrong." And I say, yeah. I just felt like, because he was so strong, I just felt like, you know, my dad was going to, you know, live for a long period of time, you know, but certainly that didn't happen. But yeah, I would come home every day and I would just do that. And then I would be here on the weekends with them. And I had made him a promise that I would take him to Washington because he always wanted to see the 9/11, the veterans, the memorial where the crash site was at. He wanted to go pay respect to some of his brothers from the war and things of that nature. So I took it upon myself. And one day I said, "We're going to wake up and we're going." And I woke up one Saturday morning and I said, "Come on, we're going." And that's when I noticed the disease was declining fast because unfamiliar places spikes that anxiety and agitation.
Yes.
So, you know, driving to Washington was a 7-hour drive. I had booked us a hotel close to where it was walking distance. At that time, Dad was in a walker, but, you know, so we was close by, and I had to turn around within 24 hours.
Did you?
We didn't even make it.
You didn't get to go.
We made it to the hotel, beautiful hotel. We made it to the hotel. But he was in the hotel room constantly saying, "Where we going? Where you at? Where I'm at? What's going on?" And the only person that could get him off the cliff was my son. So I would call my son and say, my son would be like, "Dad, Papa, I'm going to be there in 5 hours." So if he knew Malik was coming,
yes,
child, grandkids, he would be okay. But then they don't have an awareness of time. So within an hour,
yes,
I'm ready to go. So I had to check out. Yeah, I had to check out and drive all the way back in the wee hours of the morning because he was agitated, and it was increasing more to become more aggressive.
How stressful was all of this for you, and how hurtful was it for you?
I was very hurt by it, but I was very angry. I became very angry with him, but in hindsight, I was angry at the disease.
Yes.
But I was taking it out on him. And I used to just ask for forgiveness so much. When I used to be like, "Why? Where's my daddy?" You know, and I used to yell and, you know, "This is not you," and "How dare you," and "Why are you acting like this?" and stuff like that. Knowing that I understood the disease.
You're a counselor too, so yeah.
Being a therapist, I knew.
Yes.
And that's why, you know, I asked for forgiveness so much with God. And I know you only have to ask one time, but I did. I took it out on him. I took my anger out on him. And
exhaustion.
I was exhausted. I was exhausted because I was still trying to work a part-time job that took all that therapy part away from me. It was able to give me, you know, I was just so angry with him.
And then at the same time, Alana was in school, doing great things and achieving all these accolades and awards.
Yes, but in the process, still working my nerves too. I love her, but she was still in need of things and out doing remarkable things in life. And Malik, we was transitioning from what Malik was going through. He went through a storm that had me in a storm for approximately 3 to 4 years. And with the grace of God, he was able to come through it with a clean slate. But yet I had to still build him up, to get him back to where he needed to be. And, so I was just totally being torn in so many directions that it was just overwhelming, not sleeping. Now comes the time that I'm not sleeping at all. Yeah. So now my doctor is concerned as well about you. His neurologist was like, oh my gosh. So at that point, I had to do something that I really did not want to do because Dad was ambulatory. He was still able to get around somewhat, but his legs was weakening. But when I left to go to my part-time job in the late evening, I had to make sure he was safe. So I had to get permission to get what we call the dementia restraint straps, and I had to put those on the bed. And so when his CNA had to leave by 7:30 or, sometimes she would stay over until 8:00, I had no choice to restrain him. And it broke my heart and it broke my son's heart because I think Malik was here one day and he just couldn't do it for me. He said, Mom, I can't do it.
Yes.
But I had to because there was times where I've came home and his legs was weak and, and he was
the consequences could have been greater.
And one time it was because he was on the floor. Dad had ate a gallon of ice cream. And I had went to the grocery store and came in and I heard a big thump. And he had went to his bathroom and he had fallen and hit his head on the porcelain toilet in the cement. He started having seizures. And when I got him to the EMS, the emergency room in Fort Mill, his sugar level was over 500. And they was like, how could that come? And I looked in the freezer the next when I got home and
noticed that he had eaten all of the ice cream.
So I had to restrain him in the bed. And it hurt my heart every time I had to put restraints on him.
I know it did. It did. And it's almost like you damned if you do, you damned if you don't.
Because people, yeah.
And I'm so glad you're sharing a lot of this because a lot of times, especially in our community, we don't talk about the stress that comes along with being a caretaker. We don't talk about the mental stress, the physical stress. We don't talk about the anger. We go along like we're just doing so grand and this is so easy, but it is hard.
It's one of the hardest jobs in the world. I mean, I was working off of 2 hours of sleep per day. The doctor noticed I was just doing 2 hours of sleep because the other times he was up yelling and he was trying to get out of the bed and he was setting off the alarm. I had to get another alarm alarm that goes underneath his bed. And I kept the base part in my room and he was trying to get out. And then he started the yelling and my dad wouldn't curse for nothing. It was then the cursing, the profanity. So I was limiting 2 hours of sleep and I had to get up the next morning and, And nothing was.
A lot of weight? Did you lose a lot of weight during that time?
I did. I lost a lot of weight, stress, it was being shown. I was tired.
Did you cry a lot?
I developed, not the chicken pox. What the older people get?
Shingles.
I developed shingles. Didn't even know I had
shingles. That was from the stress.
It was from the stress, and the doctor but the shingles took a different effect on me when they had to rush me to the hospital because I was having headaches, and that's not part of the shingles. I was having headaches and whatever, so they had to run scans on me because the doctor was like, they've never seen shingles do what it was doing in me. But it was the stress. It was. But yeah, and doing all this, but I wasn't getting any sleep. He was weak. So when he fell and I didn't have no one here,
you had to try. Did you lift him up yourself?
Yeah. And that
weight. That's
only came from constantly being an athlete and being in the gym, and was able to say, we're gonna do this, Dad. Come on, we're gonna do this. And what would bring him back a little bit, just a little bit, is he was a sergeant in the Army. So I would be like, Sergeant Crawford, stand.
Yes.
Move your legs.
Yes.
He would, yeah. So,
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ooh, were you ever angry with God?
Oh yeah. I got angry with God a couple of days ago. I got angry with God.
Just thinking about it all.
3 hours in the morning. I just told God I was angry. I said, how dare you? How dare you take everyone from me? I said to him, you couldn't leave me one person. You couldn't leave one person here with me to take on all this, and you couldn't leave me one person, at least my brother, he was only 56. I said, now, and I get angry about it again. And I know that he understands, but because you often hear from people, oh, Cathy, you're going to be blessed. You took care of 3-4 people. Your blessing is coming. So I say to God, when is my blessing coming? When is it coming? When?
Yes.
Yeah.
And what does it look like?
What does it look like?
Or will I even receive it on this side? It might not be on this side.
When am I getting it? When am I getting my blessing? I didn't ask to be placed in this position. I'm honored that I was, and I wouldn't do anything differently. But where's my blessing? Where is my blessing? Where's my time? So, yeah.
And we don't know, and we don't know how God is going to distribute those blessings and what they're going to look like.
Exactly.
But we do know that you will be honored and people look at you and respect you. Your children look at you and respect you and like, wow, that's my mother, And I'm quite sure there are times that you look at yourself in the mirror. Do you pat yourself on the back, Cathy?
I don't.
Oh.
I don't. I think I was just telling his former CNA last week. I didn't think that I would be in this position where with grief, I'm a therapist. I've done grief counseling before. I've done, I've told people the stages of grief and where you're at. And for someone of such that deals with this, I'm not dealing with it. I am so the grief comes in waves. Yes. But for me, it just comes a lot because not only have I buried most of my family members, I don't pat myself on the back. I still got a sister, my oldest sister, 65. She's paralyzed on the right side. She's with the County Board of Disability in her right mind, but I'm her guardianship. I'm her parent. I have to make sure she's okay. I have to answer calls about her health, and I'm just like, I don't receive I hear what people say to me, but I smile through it and say, you just don't know.
Mm-hmm.
You just don't know unless you have been in my shoes.
Yes.
And I don't wish this on anyone.
Mm-hmm.
I do not wish this on anyone. So to have buried all these people and then to turn around and within 2 months, I think it's been 2 months, I buried my only nephew.
Yes.
A 23-year-old,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
heart attack, gone. I'm just like, what?
Like, how much am I supposed to take, God?
And you know, how much and I wasn't in Tyler's life like that because Tyler had a lot of health issue. But for someone to reach out to me from the hospital, I don't know this person from Adam. One of my former classmates said, someone is trying to reach you. And I was like, who's trying to reach me? Well, they reached out to me to get your phone number. And I'm calling to see if I can give her your phone number. Who is this person? You know, and the only thing the person can tell me is that you used to coach that person in track. I said, well, go ahead and give her my phone number. That's fine. And she did. And she called me from Atrium Health in Power. And I was like, okay, why are you calling me? And she was like, there's someone here that needs to talk to you. And it was Tyler's mom. And I don't know her that well. You know, that wasn't it was just something that happened and a child, you know, my nephew was born, but I could hear in her voice. He said Tyler was in the hospital. He had a seizure and he went into cardiac arrest. And I was like, oh my gosh. And then it went silent. And I said, Cor, her name is Cor. I said, and I was at work. And I said, do you need me? And she said, I need you. This is a person that I don't have. I may have met her. Tyler was 23. I may have met her maybe 3 times in my life.
Mm-hmm.
She needed me to be there. I had to get there. I went to the hospital and I stayed. And I came back the next day. I said, I'll be back. I kissed my nephew and, you know, and when they said that, it was no more that they could do, you know. And that, you know, she had to make a decision to donate his organs, you know, and that was hard for her, but she, but she did. And they included me. They included me. I wasn't a part of Tyler's life, but she thought of me to include me in his walk of honor and to be present when they removed she chose me to be a part of the funeral. I didn't do as what I should have done for Tyler because I was so wrapped up in my own life. But she thought of me. So, yeah.
So did you, and you just said you didn't do what you should have done. Did you make amends to her for not being?
Of course. When I walked in the door and I hugged her and I said, and I kissed him and I apologized for not visiting more, for not being there more, because but that strong woman of God never said anything bad about me. Yeah. She was like, I knew what you was going through. I said, but I could have done more as an auntie. And I beat myself up about that too.
Yeah. Yeah. That's understandable.
Yeah.
Whew, Cathy.
Probably got but yeah. But here I am and I stand.
You stand for people in your life that you've lost.
I do.
Grief, compounded on top of grief.
And I stand.
How do you know who to feel sad for? How do you know who to grieve on any given day?
Yeah. Great question. I don't. I grieve every day for everyone. I grieve every day. And people that are listening to this or viewing this, they may be like, no, you don't grieve every day. I grieve every day.
Yeah.
I grieve every day.
Yeah. I'm so sorry.
I do. And I know that my kids are here, and I have beautiful grandkids. I do. And they often say, Mommy, you got us. And my friends say, but Cathy, you have us. It is not the same. It's not the same.
It's that hole, that special place that was reserved for each individual. And no one else can replace that.
Yeah, no one else can replace it.
Mm-hmm.
No one.
Mm-hmm.
No one can ever replace the bond that I had with my brother,
Mm-hmm.
the relationship that I had with my mom, and the void, the biggest void that I feel for my dad.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It can't be replaced.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
You said that you went away to grieve.
I had to go, yeah.
You took a trip. You went away by yourself.
By myself. I stopped at the nearest Dollar General, ran in there to get a little notebook, and I went away for a week. And I stayed, went to a beautiful place, beautiful oceans, beautiful scenery, but I had to reconnect with God, and I stayed in that hotel room from Sunday to Friday. I did not move other than to go downstairs and get some coffee and get something to eat. I stayed on the balcony of my room overlooking scenery, beautiful ocean, and I just journaled. I just wrote down talking to God, grieving. I had to take time to start grieving for each person. Mm-hmm. I didn't get a chance to grieve for Pokey, mm-hmm. for my mom, for my dad. Mm-hmm. I didn't have time. Mm-hmm. I just didn't have time. So I had to reflect, and I had to ask God. I had to have my talk with God. So computers went off, TV, phones was gone, and I had to just sit in the moment with God 24 hours a day.
How does being honest with yourself look like? Because we can lie to others. Mm-hmm. And we lie to ourselves.
Oh, yeah. We certainly do.
Yeah. How does being honest, because you said you could have been a better auntie to Tyler. So what revelations does that bring when you're gut level honest with yourself? No one else around. You don't have to pretend. You don't have to be, but just who you are in that moment at that time.
Mm-hmm. A breath of fresh air. A breath of fresh air. It does not matter to me what other people think. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. It does not. I'm not here to judge anyone on this earthly earth. I'm not. I'm trying to get where I need to go. And I know that I have to be transparent. Mm-hmm. And I have to be honest. Mm-hmm. I was not there. But it did not stop that person from saying, I need her here, though.
Yes.
Me.
And she knew you would come.
And she knew. She doesn't know me from Adam. She doesn't know about me other than what my brother probably said to her, which was maybe not too much. But she knew in her spirit, I need her here. I need someone to reach out to her and she'll know that I need, and I knew through her energy on the phone when it got quiet. I said, do you need me? And she said, I need you. Mm-hmm. Me. And she has a huge family. Tyler had so many aunts and uncles and sisters. Huge family. I mean, 20 plus down. But she asked for me to be present. And I knew I had to be there. I know that's something God is trying to say to me, maybe, but I didn't get it. And I had to be honest, and I have to be honest with the world. I'm not perfect. No one's perfect, but I have to be transparent. I wasn't a good person to my nephew, to her mother. I wasn't. I could have done better, and I didn't. And so I had to, and I hope she hears this. I hope she sees this and hears this. And I've asked for forgiveness, and she has. But I have to learn how to forgive myself, and I'm not quite there yet. I'm just not. And it's okay.
And it is okay. And that was going to be my next question. How is Cathy today? It's evident that you're better than you were. And I must say, you have experienced a lot of loss, more than the average person would, especially with such close people in your family, in such close proximity. Mm-hmm. But you are still standing. You are still smiling. And God is using you, and you don't know it. You don't know it. And when you talk about the blessings, when people say blessings, your blessing may just be to bless other people with your transparency.
Great. You pointing out, you're dead on it. Maybe that's it. Because I don't know. I don't know why I'm here. I don't. Mm-hmm. I know I have kids that I have to see through and break it, but I don't know why I'm here. I don't know why I have remained to be here. I don't know. And those are the things that I go back and forth with God about.
Mm-hmm. And blessings, Cathy, you talked about Malik. Malik is getting ready to get married.
Yes.
He has a beautiful family.
Yes.
A blessing.
Yes.
Alana was accepted to every college. This young lady was accepted to Harvard University. Yes. She was accepted to every Ivy League college that she applied to. Yes. And she went through Penn State like roller skates.
Yes.
It's a blessing. You still have your right mind. A lot of people could have lost it. A lot of people could have turned to different vices to numb their feelings.
You're right.
And and I'm not trying to diminish anything you're saying when you're asking God, because your relationship, your conversation with God is your conversation and relationship with God. But it could have gone so many different ways for you.
And in hindsight, you're right. I mean, I don't, this thing that we all have is kind of brain. It's cloudy.
I understand.
You're absolutely right. And people have said that. You're absolutely right. You are. But right now, I'm numb. I need to be very happy for my son's upcoming wedding. I need to be looking at dresses and things of that nature because it's in August. And someone was just asking me at my sister's group home, your son, my sister was like, how's Malik? Is he getting ready for the man? I said, I haven't gotten excited yet. And I need to. I really do. And I probably will get there. I am. Alana, studying for the LSAT, getting ready, hopefully, and I'm trying to push her on out the door to live her life, There's just moments where they have picked up that I'm not myself.
Yes.
I'm angry. And they're like, Mom, you're yelling. I am. I'm yelling a lot lately. I'm yelling. I'm angry. And I need to stop it. It needs to stop.
And you're saying something, and I was listening to a sermon, and it said, I need. Yeah. We can't fix it.
We can't.
This is bigger than you.
It is.
It's bigger than you. Are you in counseling?
I'm not, and and I'm an advocate for for people going, being that I'm I'm an advocate for that. I'm not. I'm just more in, and not to say that I want, I hear people, not to say that I don't need it. For me, my role, my steps to get into that place right now is I don't see it right now. What I see for me is my time with God. I made him a promise. I would never forsake him. I cannot forsake him ever again. He is first and foremost. And I need him to, I say it out loud. And I think I say it out loud because I feel like maybe God don't hear me, but I need to speak it more. But I know that he does. And sometimes I'm just in denial with myself. Like, God, do you not hear what I'm saying? I'm not forsaking you. You're first and foremost. I'm reading the Bible. I'm living a life. But I know in his timing, he knows what's coming for me. I'm just in between. I'm just in between with
and the Bible says, I know the plans that I have for you.
Yeah.
And to purpose you and not harm you.
Yeah.
Jeremiah, something like that. But he knows. And what I like too is that you're feeling your feelings. You are the true epitome of a person feeling their feelings and being honest with their feelings. And I love that.
Okay. Yeah,
I love that. You're not lying to yourself. You're not lying to people. You're not in denial, about what it is you're feeling. You're feeling your feelings. And I feel that is the only way that we can get through any traumatic experience is to feel the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Yeah. Yeah. You have to be transparent, and you have to be honest with yourself and everyone else. And that's the only way to be moving forward. Since these losses, since COVID, regardless of whether people believe me or not, that COVID was the first thing that changed me.
It changed a lot of people.
It did. And then to go through what I went through with Malik and my brother, I don't view life the same anymore. I don't. And I have to be honest. This is the new version of Cathy. And this is me going forward. This is who I am. I'm not, I haven't always been a good person. But yeah.
With you being honest, and with both of your parents having Alzheimer's or dementia, have you ever had concerns about memory loss or dementia for yourself?
Yeah. And this going to be another transparent moment, and people may be like, oh my gosh, but this is where I'm at in life. Yes. I hate it. I hate cancer, and I hate dementia, and I hate it. I could not do it. And when I say could not, I mean, I would not put my kids through this. I cannot put my kids through this. And I pray to God that I don't get that disease. I used to pray as a child. We used to say certain ways we don't want to die. Most people want to just go to sleep and not wake up. That's their time of transitioning. And I used to say the same thing. I say, oh God, I don't want to get this. I don't want to get this disease. But I never thought of dementia. I never said that. I just said, I don't want to have this, and I don't want to get shot, and I don't want to get stabbed, and I don't want to burn up in no fire. I just want to go to sleep. When it's my time, I just want to go to sleep. But now, seeing what I have witnessed, I don't, and I won't. And it may offend people out there, but I will not allow my kids to, if God forbid if I pick up this disease, and I hope I don't. I just hope I just go to sleep. And I hope I continue to be in my right mind. But I would not put my kids through it. I would not. And so you can take what I'm saying and use your own imagination when I say I will not put them through it if I had it. But I will not. I will not. It was hard for them. And they was only here for maybe a day or two. Mm-hmm. It was hard for them. And to see my son, like, how, you know, in my son's eyes, he calls me the GOAT. And I didn't know what GOAT was. He was like, you know, LeBron, Brian, you know, you're my GOAT. Mm-hmm. I couldn't put them through it. They could not do what I've done. The wiping of the wiping, the change and the shower and the this and that and that. They couldn't do it. And they'll sit up here and say, oh, well, yes, no, you can't. Because you couldn't do it when I needed to, if I needed to run to the grocery store or go to my doctor's appointment. It was hard for you to do it then for your papa. So I know they would not be able to do it. And I would not want to put them through this. And I will not. And I will be at peace with the decision that I've made for myself. I will be at peace. I've already prepared them for that. Does it upset them? Yes, it does. It does. And I understand. But I will not. There's places where you can go, and I will not, and that would be my plan. And that's me being transparent. And I know what it says in the Bible and things of that nature, but that is my walk and that is my talk with God. And he will be my only person to judge me. Yes. And at the time when I make it over into the pearly gates, I hope that he understands and allow me to enter those pearly gates. But I cannot put Malik and my daughter through this. I cannot. I wouldn't. And I don't feel like I have enemies out here, Gail. I really don't. But I wouldn't put my worst enemy through this. I wouldn't. It's the worst thing ever. Wow. I wouldn't want this on my worst enemy.
Mm-hmm. What do you do to take care of your brain health? Your brain health?
You know, always been an athlete, so I exercise every day. Monday through Thursday, I go to the gym constantly. I'm an avid worker. I try to eat as healthy as possible. That has changed over time. I don't have appetites like I used to, but when I eat, I try to eat as healthy as possible. That's still a work in process. I try to read. I'm thinking about taking over-the-counter brain medicine. You know, the brain that they advertise on TV. I'm checking into that, but I try to keep my brain active. I still do, work with clients that are going through psychotic breakdowns and detox. So I still do assessments. And so I'm still able to be in that type of therapy role without doing therapy per se. I needed to back away from that for a little bit and just focus on more assessments and not being hands-on with clients as I used to in the past. But yeah, those are some of the things I do. And it's spending time with my grandkids and stuff. Yeah.
Thank you. Oh, this has been good. And thank you for your transparency and for the sake of time, because I got a whole lot of other questions, but there are two that I do want to ask.
Okay.
What do you think your loved ones would say to you right now if they could?
My loved ones would say, Mom, you got us. We love you. Without, and I hear that from Lana. If you leave, I don't know what I would do. We love you. And Malik will always continue to say, just look at me with Malik just stares at me and he'll just say, "You're the GOAT."
Mm.
I've never known anyone other than you. You're the GOAT of this family.
Affirming you,
He is.
assuring you. Yes.
He is. Yeah.
And what would your loved ones in heaven say to you if they could?
Great question. And I often say to God when I'm praying, I would say, "Pokey, can you come by and talk to me for a little bit?
Mm.
Mom, come by and check on me. Send a sign. Send a red robin or a butterfly to let me know that you're here." And sometimes I feel like I do hear them saying stuff. And especially when I'm in my mode of being angry and the why me, I can hear my mom saying to me, I feel like my mom is worrying about me a little bit.
Yes.
She's worrying about me because I picked up a shift where I'm working at night now. So I work 10 hours at night. I go in at 10 p.m. and I get off at 8 a.m. Monday through Thursday. So I know that my mom, as well as Pokey and Dad, are worrying about me and my safety. But I think they would, I can hear my mom, before she left, my mom looked at me and said, "You're such a good daughter. You're such a good daughter." So I know that she's saying that. And I know my dad is saying, "I miss you." Because before he closed his eyes, I said to him over and over again, "You was the best, Daddy. I love you. No, I don't want you to go. I don't want you to go, Daddy. But I'm going to be okay. I'll be okay." And this is the first time that I've ever in my entire life saw my daddy cry. He cried. A tear came out. And I meant to tell you that. He cried. He didn't want to leave me. And he cried. He shedded a tear. He didn't have no, ugly cry. He just shedded tears. And I remember that now. That carries me because I've never seen my daddy cry. Never did my daddy ever cry. He cried when I said that to him. So I know that they're looking down at me and they're very proud of me. I know they are. And I just remember and that's what my mom would be saying. "You're such a good daughter." Because she said it when I was taking care of Pokey. Mm-hmm. She said, "You're such a good daughter. I see why he put you in charge." Because she was, she used to be upset that he didn't put her as power of attorney or guardian. But she said, "You're such a good daughter." So I know I'm a good daughter.
You're a good daughter.
I just have to believe it.
You have to believe it. You have to believe it. Yes, you have to believe it. I'm going to read something to you.
Okay.
Loss can also be a period of growth.
Mm-hmm.
Today, be open to awareness of new growth and changes. Try to say yes to something that comes up in the next week. Try to say yes to something that comes up in the next week that will help bring awareness and that will help you to grow.
Okay, I will. I promise you I will try.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. I have one more question for you. It has 3 answers.
Okay.
This is the Gail Estella Survival Podcast. Mm-hmm. Tell the audience 3 things that has helped you to survive.
No. My faith in God, first and foremost. My family, my beautiful family. And my peace. My peace. Gotta have my peace. Cannot allow anyone or anything to interrupt my peace. So those are the 3 things.
I love it. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you. You have a good night, okay?
All righty. Love you.
Love you too, baby. Have a good night.
Bye.